Now we're going to be working on page 4, number 31 through 34. So let's focus on 31. This will be 31 is going to be a non-calculator part for my pre-AP. So if they're asking which equation will produce the widest parabola, guys, every time they say widest parabola, it means you think that it's going to get wider than your y equals x squared, wider than the parent function. So you look at the smallest number. Okay, so you don't consider A, you don't consider B. Remember, you don't care about the negative. Negative only means that it's going to be reflected across the x-axis. So it's going to be either the 1/3 or the 1/5. So as you can see, 1/3 is going to be a bigger number. Think of it as pizza, like you divide it into 3 parts. You're going to get 1/3. It means it's going to be a bigger part than when you divide it into 5 different parts. So if you divide this into 5 different parts, let's say you're going to get a smaller part than the 1/3. You can think of it this way. So 1/3 is going to be greater. So the smaller the number, the wider it is. So then your answer is D. Now for my academic, you can use the calculator. So you know that A and B are not the answer because the wider means the smaller numbers. So it cannot be A and B. They're both greater than 1. So they're going to be a narrower graph. So your choice is either C and D. So what you can do, you can go to y equals. On y1, you can put 1/3 x squared. And then on y2, delete that. And then put, instead of it, 1/5 squared. So parentheses 1/5 x squared. So on y1 you have the C, on y2 you have the D. As you can see, I don't really care about the negative. It will only reflect it across the x-axis. Now when you graph it, remember then the regular line is going to be the 1/3 and the bold one is going to be the 1/5. And let's see which one is going to get wider. So this is going to be the 1/3. Oh, and this is going to be the 1/5. As you can see, it's wider. So your choice is going to be the bold one, which is 1/5. So your answer is 1/5. So wider means the smaller number. Or you can just, so your choice is going to be C and D. Now, which equation will produce the narrower parabola? Remember, narrower means the bigger the number, the narrower it is. So as it gets greater than 1, it means it's going to be stretched. It means it's going to get narrower. So it cannot be any number that's less than 1, 2/3, and 1/6 are not. So it's going to be either 3 and 5. Since 5 is going to be the bigger number, greater numbers, then A is your answer. Again, you can graph it to better see it. Again, you don't really care about the, let me delete. Okay, so 5x squared, and on y2 you can put the 3x squared. Let me delete this number over here. So 3x squared. Remember, the regular is the 5 and the bold is going to be the 3, and when you graph it, so let's zoom in since you cannot really see it. So number 2 is zoom in, press enter. So as you can see, the regular one is going to be the narrower one. So the regular is going to be the 5x squared, so A is your answer. This is how you can tell. So this is for narrower and wider. Now let's move on to 33. The test pilot of a plane release a bomb on a practice target. The height in feet of the bomb in t seconds after its release is modeled as this equation. So keep in mind that the y is the height, it's in feet, and the t is the time, and it's in seconds. It's good to know what the y and the t stand for in word problems. What is the y-intercept? It's, as you can see, the number over here, so it's 5,000. What does it represent in this situation? This situation, it's the plane being above the ground, since it's a plane, okay? So the plane above the ground. You can say the plane is 500 feet above the ground. Now let's move on to B. Now find the roots and interpret the meaning. Now for a question like this, you will get a calculator in my pre-AP class. So let's go to y equals. As you can see, we are in y equals. Let's clear all this. On y1, let's clear all this too, and let's type in the equation. So negative 16 x squared minus 200 x plus 5,000. And so they want the roots. So let's graph it. Remember, the roots are where it's going to touch the x-axis. And you see nothing. It means that you have to go to your window and fix. And remember, we zoomed in, so we made it even smaller. Now the y-intercept is 5,000, so the y maximum is going to be more than 5,000. Let's put it as 6,000. Now we want the y maximum and y minimum to be a little bit like coherent, so I'm going to put it as negative 1,000, just to be in the thousands so we can see. So let's graph it and see what's going to happen. We're almost there. We can actually see it, so we have to fix the x maximum. Now let's see, it's 16. Let's put it as maybe 50, and let's put the x minimum as a negative 50. As you can see, I'm just trying and like see if I can actually see it or not. Okay, not bad. So now you can see the graph. What you are interested in are these 2 points. Now, since we're talking about time in seconds, it can never be negative, so you can disregard this one. What you're really interested in is this one over here. So to do that, you go to second trace. Let me write it down. So second trace, and then you go to 0, because roots means 0. So second trace, 0 is number 2, so you press number 2. Left bound, so you need to be to the left of this point. This is to the left of my point, and you press enter. Right bound, it means you want to be to the right of your point, so press enter, guess enter. So your 0 is 12.5, so you put 12.5 as your answer. So T means 12.5. And remember, the 0 means when it touches the x-axis. In this case, the x-axis is the ground. So it means that the bomb needs 12.5 seconds to reach the ground. This is what it means. Remember, root means touching the x-axis. So the x-axis in this case is the ground. So for the bomb, whenever he releases it, it takes 12.5 seconds to reach the ground, or to hit the ground. Now, they want the horizontal distance, and as you can see, the equation is 1021t, so x is equal 1021t. What they mean by horizontal distance is when should he release it, when he's how far from the place or the target. Now 1021, and the t means it takes 12.5 seconds, so you just plug it in. And if you do it on the calculator, you're going to get that it's going to be 12,762.5. And it's very important to say that this is going to be feet, since they told you that the x is in feet. Now this is number 33. Now let's move on to 34. Now the table shows the population growth of random people in Texas between 2000 and 2004. Now, as you can see, let's look at A. A, determine the quadratic equation, blah, 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 in terms of the years since 2000. So it means that 2000 is going to be our 0, and moving from there, so 2001 is going to be a 1 year from 2000. 2002 is going to be 2 years from 2000, and so on. So basically, what you need to do over here is to get the quadratic regression. And remember, you do not enter an L1 2000, 2001, and 2002. You enter 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the steps are, you go to Stat, and then Edit. You enter your L1 and L2. So let's do this step first. So Stat, you go to Edit, press Enter. L1 is going to be 0, Enter, 1, Enter, 2, Enter, 3, Enter, and 4, Enter. Now then you go to L2. You enter the numbers as 80, enter, then 83, enter, 92, and I did something wrong. and backspace over here. So 92, enter, and then 112, enter, and then 142, enter. Now this is the first step. Then you go to stat, and then you go to calc. So let's do that. You press stat and then calc, and now you are interested in the quadratic regression since they said quadratic equation. So number 5, so press number 5, you keep on pressing enter, and then calculate, so it gives you the equation. Remember, always round to the nearest 3 number after the decimal. So it will be y equals, the a is 4.643, so 4.643. It's a 2, but since 8 is after it, the 2 goes up to a 3, x squared. Now negative, since b is negative, 3.271, 3.271x, and this c is 80.486, so plus 80.486, that is going to be my equation. Now they said, based on this model, estimate the population of random in the year 2015. So remember that 2015 is going to be 15 years from 2000. So basically they just gave you x to be 15 and you want to find y. Now if this is the case, you go to y1 and you enter the equation that you just found. So let's do that. Let me push this a little bit to the side so you can see it. So go to y equals and enter this. It's going to be 4.643 x squared minus 3.271. There's a shortcut to copy this. I'll show you the shortcut in a minute. And plus 80, but I know there's a lot of calculator steps, so I don't want to show you just another trick on the calculator. Oh, I forgot a plus over here. So if something like this happens, you can just put second delete. It means now you can insert an actual like plus instead of or not. Let me do it again. So now you can insert an 80. Okay, so that's it. Let me look at y equals now. So I think it's good, so let's graph it. You don't really need to graph it, you just need to go to second trace, and since they gave you, so after you put the y equals, since x is given, the second step is that you go to second trace, and then since x is given, you press number 1, which is the value. So second trace, and then you press number 1, so press enter on number 1. You have to enter the value, which is 15 in this case. So you enter 15 and you press enter. It's going to give you the y. It means in 2015, which is 15 years from 2000, you're going to have 1,076 people. So the y is going to be 1,076. Now this is how you do a question like that. Remember, you enter y1. Now then you go to second trace, 1 value, and you press enter, or you type in the number and then you press enter to get the y value. Now a shortcut, let me clear this. Now since you already found the quadratic regression, what you can do is that you can go to vars. This is a shortcut if you'd like to know it. Vars, and then you go to number 5, which is statistics, and then you go 2 steps to EQ, and then you press enter. It copies the whole equation for you. So in this case, the whole equation is copied. You didn't need to copy anything, and then it's more precise. And then you go here, you do second trace. You do second trace 1, you press enter, you enter the number, press enter. So again, it's going to be the same thing, very close, since we rounded to the 3 numbers after the decimal, so it is accurate. So 1,076 people. So that is page number 4.